Hello there. This is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. I showed you this a few weeks ago, and those are more pastel-like colors. And I'm going to show you how to do this again on our vellum paper using pretty much the exact same technique, but this time we're going super bold, super bright, and I'm going to give you measurements and everything like that as we go through this. You're going to need a Stampin' spritzer, and you fill that up with at least 92%, if not more, isopropyl alcohol. We have four new ink colors I'm using: Sweet Sorbet, Dark Mango Melody, Dark Parakeet Party, and Dark Tahitian Tide with Dark Oasis Orchid. You want to do the darks. So that is Whisper White Thick. The Vellum and the Whisper White Thick, they're cut down to 6 by 6. The adhesive sheet is 5 7/8 square. And you want that a teeny tiny bit smaller because that's the stickiest stuff ever. It's completely unforgiving. And you have zero wiggle room. And that's why I cut it down just a little bit. So on the edge of the flap there that you're looking at, I'm folding that over and getting that good crease in there, because when I peel off one of the backings to lay it down on the basic white, it can be a little bit flimsy, and I want to get that covered up without the bubbles or anything like that, because that is two-sided adhesive. It's the best stuff out on the market there. I mean, you could like glue a brick with it. So you see me shaking it up right now, kind of molding it a little bit. And I'm using the L corner of my Stamparatus, and I use that Stamparatus for everything that you see me do before. And I wanted to zoom in real quick to give you an idea of what I'm doing. So I'm like going over towards the left all the way up towards the top and laying it down, and I'm going to smooth it out. You can use your bone folder to do this. If you have Pampered Chef, that scraper thing works perfectly, or a small roller like that I used. Just make sure everything goes down and to get the air bubbles out. So I'm taking that little tab off the end, that last sticky part, because I do not want to have to turn that paper going through our adhesive sheets. It's ugly. Like I said, it's very, very sticky. So it's really quite that simple to go ahead and lay it down. So once I know I have that, or the adhesive sheet down to the basic white thick. I've never tried regular before on this because we're saturating the daylights out of it with alcohol, but also the vellum has a coating on it, which is how we can move the ink around, and I'll get into that as we're doing that. So now I am peeling off the other side of the sticky adhesive, and I'm just going to take it down a little teeny tiny bit and then like fold it right there. Because once I lay that vellum down up at the top and using the L corner of my Stamparatus skin, I mean, this is the best tool ever, okay? I can just pull that tab all the way down and then rub my left hand down it, and it's going to lay up perfectly and be okay. And I'm going to smooth it out on the way down too. And I'm not speeding this up or anything like that because this entire video, because it is a process and it takes a little bit of time. So that is what we are looking like so far. So today's colors, I'm going to repeat them again. I'm going to use my roller, and they're all dark. You got to use, I prefer to use dark because I know I'm going to mute the color significantly by spraying on the alcohol. But today's project, it was muted but not muted because I really laid it on heavy, and that gives you options there. So that is what we are looking like once we have it all together. And I think I just repeated my colors to you. No, I said that they were all dark. But Sweet Sorbet, I brought in the dark mango because I was trying to avoid mud. And this is where you have to know your color wheel. And I'll get back that to you as we're laying the ink out. I lay that on dark, and that is sweet. Well, it's dark anyway, dark Sweet Sorbet, but I laid the color down dark. Use the side of your marker, as you see right there, because that way you don't dull the tip or the point of it. And I never cross contaminate my markers either. And if I do, you'll see me wipe it off way down the line there with the yellow. So that was mango, dark mango melody. The top was dark sweet sorbet. This is dark parakeet party. And again, you have to know your color wheels. I'm going to tell you this right now. Next one is going to be dark Tahitian tide and then orchid oasis. So I know that if my sorbet and my mango, they cross, that's going to give me an orange, but yet I'll still have the red and the yellow there. Now the yellow and the green, that's going to make blue, so I want to be real careful with that. And then with the green and the Tahitian tide I'm bringing in, that could go kind of purpley a little bit, and I'm going to keep that ink moving to, the main thing here is to lay down minimal color and get the most color you can out of it without getting mud. And that, which is just ugly, really mud, dark brown, ugly, that you can't do anything with unless you go sepia or something like that. But we're not going there right now. Okay, here goes the orchid. But so when I mix the Tahitian tide and the orchid oasis, I don't worry too much about cross contamination there, because that orchid is more of like a darker blue as opposed to a purple. So that way, when the Tahitian tide and the orchid cross around, I'm going to get a good purple. And I'm going to keep saying this, know your color well, know how everybody mixes. You cannot mix and match properties. Okay, I'll get back to that in a minute. I am turning that on to setting 2. You use 1 to dry ink like sentiments, 2 to heat emboss, and to move this around because I need that extra power. So that is setting off to the left, heating up. You want to cover your workspace with paper, and I have a tea towel there. Alcohol ink is unforgiving and it will stain. So now I'm just spraying the daylights out of what we made there. And you can see the color starting to move around a little bit, get wet, and I'm constantly moving that panel around as I'm spraying the alcohol in it. And I have a really good shine there, as you can see. And I just keep moving and turning it. And if you don't like the way that something looks, grab a paper towel and dab it all off. I mean, you can start from scratch if you want to. And you'll see me kind of sort of do it a little bit later on. But right now, you can see how I'm using my heat tool to blow that ink around a little bit. And it's like that little controlled random thing that we like to do. And I'm always moving that paper around. And you want to keep it up in the air too, because the air is, the air from the heat tool, that is going to go through, all the way through, a lot of layers. But like I said, I haven't tried the regular yet. I don't think I'm going to. I just feel better with this. And I am on top, as you can tell, but there's still heat going through it all the way. I didn't want to burn my fingers or anything like that. And you can see where all the different colors are coming out, where my mango and my sorbet is turning into orange there. And then I have my green along with my orchid and the blue. And it's like, oh gosh, I'm starting to lose a little bit of color here. So if you get everything dry, and if you don't like how it looks, fix it, change it. Grab that spritzer, go back in, lay it all down again, and then start from scratch. You could even like wipe the entire thing off if you wanted to. Could your your vellum and white cardstock handle that much? Probably not, but I mean, I don't know. I just try and, wing it for the most part. So I'm seeing everything I went there, but the purple and my red's still kind of heavy, so is the green, and I'm losing my yellow. So now this is where I'm bringing that spritzer back in, and I'm trying to angle for that bottom right sorbet and move that around a little bit more. And I'm going to point out pretty soon where it looks kind of splattery. You can kind of see it over there in the middle of the bottom to where the splats like of the alcohol go out, but you're not moving the ink like that. I try to avoid that, but sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I wing it. I just want to be happy with the end result. Now, I did not spray off a lot of the color because I wanted to go heavier on this one than I did the other pastel-y one to see what I can grab out of this. And so I'm heating, I have that heat tool on there again. Okay, that's where it's super light there, kind of pinkish. That's where you can see, okay, it kind of splattered down, but I didn't move it. But again, that's okay too. And you just have to figure out how you want your end project to look, to tell you the truth. So I wasn't too happy about my yellows. It's completely dry. That panel is totally dry. So I went back in with my mango marker, colored right over it, and you can, when I did those X's over there to the right side, I didn't have any cross contamination because it was dry. So I'm, more alcohol, keep that heat tool moving and everything. And I'm not that warped. If you look, the cardstock is not that warped because in my left hand, I'm keeping the paper moving. In my right, I'm keeping the heat moving. And it's like I'm doing this, I don't know, like a cobra dance in a basket or something, swaying my head back and forth. I have no idea where that came from. I guess it was like maybe the dance, trying to get it right. Okay, yeah, that's it. I'm going to go with that. So that is what we are looking like. The color possibilities, the options, the different types of cardstock that you can use. It is all endless, but you got to keep your properties the same. Alcohol on alcohol and water on water. Now I had a sailboat picture I punched. This is super thick. If you ever want to punch anything like that we just done, put your punch down straight and don't slam it like that. Just slowly push it down and it will come out. Same thing with die cutting. You might want to run it back and forth once or twice, but it'll cut perfectly. So that is our end result and what we are looking like. I had a lot to say because I didn't have to pause it all, but I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, head over to the blog at cindybdesigns.com with a lot of projects made using this and our other lighter cardstock that we did a couple of weeks ago. And I thank you for stopping by. And this is what we did today. It looks completely different in photos than it did from what we did, but there's just so much you can do with this. Have a great weekend, and I will see you again the next time.